priceless items in your attic?
Your average home did not have this kind of furniture.
Do you have any old letters that may be rare collectibles?
Out of everything in the house that you've shown me, this is the most significant.
American homes are filled with treasures, and antique expert Jimmy Schutz is knocking on doors to bring these items to you. He is the treasure hunter.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Schutz. In the antique business, I'm known as a picker. For the past 24 years, I've been getting into the most incredible homes, finding the most unbelievable treasures. There was a time I found 80 Civil War letters in the trunk of a lady's attic. There was a $30,000 signed Stickley table I found at a household sale in Pennsylvania.
Now you can join Jimmy on his treasure hunts, and you can own the unique and valuable collectibles he discovers in the farmhouses, attics, and barns of small-town America. On the internet, just log on to treasurehunter.com. To bid, you'll be asked to register and give a username and password to keep all your information safe. Then you can place your bid and hit submit. It's that easy. When you're the highest bidder, you'll be able to take home one of Jimmy's uncovered treasures. Today's treasure hunt starts in Elmira, a small town in upstate New York. It's a community rich in history. The study where Mark Twain wrote Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer is preserved here. At the turn of the 19th century, Elmira was one of the most prosperous towns in New York. The home of Mr. B, grandson of one of Elmira's most distinguished businessmen, is Jimmy's first stop.
I'm glad you let me into your house today, because you have, without a doubt, the most interesting, exciting things I've ever seen.
Mr. B inherited family heirlooms purchased by his grandfather.
My grandfather was a businessman. He founded his own company back about 1890, and he eventually developed over 300 products, and he had agents all over the United States selling them.
As a child, Mr. B remembers how the industrious old man loved collecting beautiful objects.
When I was 6 years old, I thought I'd stump him. I said, "Granddad, what do you look for if you don't know so much about a particular field of antiques?" He said, I look for workmanship.
The first item up for bid is a good example of skilled craftsmanship. It's a console-based etagere made in New York City in 1860 by Thomas Brooks.
If you notice, you've got all the mirrors down here, loaded with mirrors. You'd have your fine china and so forth still here. But all the rococo is heavily carved wood. The center carving right here with your flowers, this is all hand carved. But the best thing about this whole piece is this shell-domed, concave carved cartouche, really, is what this also is. This is pure Brooks. You'll find other Brooks pieces like this. They're not going to have a label, but there's been enough of these pieces seen and on the market for attribution. We know by the style that's Brooks. Now, naturally, we can't move this out to look, but if you had a Brooks label on the back of this, you'd have something I've never seen the likes of. Not saying it can't, it may. And a label on this could add $5,000 to the value of this piece.
Several of the carved aprons appear missing, and the finial at the top of the 10-foot-high etagere needs to be reattached.
But the carvings, the shelves, the mirrors, everything seems to be intact and fine. You have the original finish. It's not, has been monkeyed, it has been refined. This is where you want to find them. But I think you have a piece that could hit $20,000 if we have these two little pieces. If not, maybe $500, $800 less for restoration work.
Jimmy later found that the etagere was signed by Thomas Brooks and discovered the missing carved aprons. To learn more about the etagere and to place your bid, log on to treasurehunter.com. The etagere held other treasures as well.
It's French, and it's under what we call under a dome. We have a clock that's done in marble. You have a porcelain face, with gourd ormolu hands, and it has a maker's name on the dial, if I may open this. It's Davis and Collimore Company, New York, and we're 3rd Avenue and 57th Street. They're not the makers. This will be a French maker. But this Davis and Collymore would be the retailer. The style clock, this should be dating about 1850. This is in a high style. Again, would be in the best of homes. You didn't find this in an old farmhouse. This was always in a city. People by means. Well, we have the finials. They're urn-shaped with a drape. You have the drape flower coming through. You've got the Cupid with a torch. And again, just all the original gold. I mean, it's untouched, just the way you want to find them. This clock here easily would bring $4,000, but I think you can be talking as much as $6,000.
This French gold-trimmed marble clock from the 1860s and a set of colorful hand-painted beer glasses were also found on Mr. B's etagere. If you'd like more information on these and other items, log on now to treasurehunter.com. Coming up, some antique woodwork gets Jimmy excited, and there's a grandfather clock that rings his chime, and a piece of the nation's history. Today, treasure hunter Jimmy Schatz is in Elmira, New York. He's finding American and French antiques at the home of Mr. B, grandson of a turn-of-the-century businessman.
As a picker in the antique business, I look at the exterior of a house first. I ask myself a few questions. Is it old? Are there some unusual features? Unique craftsmanship? For example, an historic plaque is an instant giveaway that there may be treasures inside. The exterior of Mr. B's house gave me those clues.
Inside, Jimmy found an exquisite pair of American ladder-back chairs, dating to 1780.
These are very high. You're going to have a ladder-back chair. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slats. Run your hand, look at the workmanship. Look how thin these slats are. It's all out of hickory. You have the original splint seats. I bet you don't know what really excites me about these chairs the most.
What would that be?
What I love are these turnings. Whenever you're looking at American furniture, these are wild, I mean wild, bulbous turnings. This took imagination. The man that was making this chair, I mean, instead of a simple turn, he could have done this. He could have done a more simple turning along here, but no. He saw this chair, big, bulbous. This makes the whole chair. Without this here, they're entirely different. They don't have the charm, they don't have that pizzazz.
This pair of American ladder-back chairs is on the auction block. To place your bid, log on to treasurehunter.com.
What I like about everything in your house is everything's untouched. I mean, this has some apologies, but nothing here has been touched, monkeyed with, restored, refinished.
Stayed away from that.
I mean, nothing's, but what we have a grandfather clock in walnut with a burl veneer around the face here. You're talking a scallop door. We have, again, a burled panel down here. Now, we have age cracks, which is sort of normal. You hate to see it happen.
Sure.
But we're talking a piece here that dates probably right around 1810.
To Jimmy, the hand-painted dial is the most interesting feature.
You got the figures of the ladies in each corner. We have the western, eastern hemispheres right here. And we have what we call moon face. This dial actually would have a calendar here. And do you see this little point?
Sure.
This point would point to the day of the month. Well, there you go. You'll be able to see when this is a full moon, when the movement's actually running, it's going to click. There, we're in a full moon mode. Well, this is good. We have brass movements, which is better than wood. The brass was more precision. The wood would warp, would not be an accurate timekeeper. With the brass movement, it's usually a higher grade clock. You also have a chime, a bell, that would ring on the hour, possibly the quarter and the half. But without taking this off, I won't know how complicated this actually gets, because it's more complicated to ring also on the quarter after, and on the half. So this certainly would chime on the hour. If we look at the backboard, I mean, again, we're talking about untouched. This is a one-board back, two-board back, okay, through here. Nothing's been altered. There's no paper label, no signatures. This is just how you want to find a clock, though. Did this come from the grandfather?
Yes.
Same collection.
Came from my grandfather. He tried to collect one and give it to each one of his children.
Collect one what? Grandfather clock?
Yeah.
For each one of the kids?
Yeah.
Okay. And this one is yours? Or
This is the one my father got, yeah.
All right. That's interesting. But you don't know where did he go to Europe? Did he travel abroad?
No, not that anymore.
Okay. Well, what would you think a clock like this might be worth in today's market?
I don't know. I thought 3,000, I don't.
Well, that's not a bad guess. I'm going to say more. We have a complicated movement. We have a fantastic dial. With a little bit more inspection and research, I may be able to identify by this dial who made this clock. We're missing what we call a rosette right here, and that's really the biggest problem with the clock is that one little rosette. And I don't know if you have it, but a clock like this is going to run $5,000 to $7,000. If we can identify the maker, and if he's important enough, it might even reach $10,000. Now, this is a beautiful clock, and just the way we like to find it, just untouched.
To bid on this grandfather clock, log on to treasurehunter.com. Mr. B's home is a treasure trove of American antiques and collectibles. The next item Jimmy finds has its own unique style.
I'm glad we've come across this piece because it's a little different than everything you had. We had definite styles of furniture. The Etagere is Rococo Revival. Now we know what everything is. This is really what we call a transitional piece. Certainly it has Hepwood influences, but yet at the same time it has Empire. Empire dating, 1840 or so. Hepwood a little earlier. So we're coming into the later Hepwood time. But the desk is all veneered. And if you look here, we have a matched veneer. It looks to be a rosewood, walnut, burl walnut type veneer. Well, let's open up the desk and show what we have here. We have a latch at the bottom. What we have is just a nice secretary. This is what we would call fitted top. You have the little drawers or compartments here, slots here that would have been used for letters, paperwork, and this is a nice feature here. These are your drawer slides for your flip down lid. We're missing a knob here. Well, you would pull these out. This would give you your writing surface. So you could pull your chair up to it, actually use the desk, and everything you'd ever want or need would be in the top half. Again, you can see the matched veneer. You see this line here?
Yes.
This is actually a piece of veneer that's split in two. You can see the seam here, and what it does, it gives it a mirrored effect. This piece of veneer is identical to this piece of veneer.
Yes.
Again, with the line inlay going all the way around. Very nice.
Jimmy estimates the value of the desk secretary at $15,000, but there's no price tag that can be put on the next item Mr. B shows Jimmy.
This is a John Adams letter written by the gentleman who was second president of the United States.
This is an Adams letter?
Yes, I've got it. I found
May
this. I found. Just be very careful with it.
This is the second president of the United States. That John Adams, correct?
Yes. He was writing a gentleman to congratulate him on a book he had written, and also because he had been appointed Attorney General of the United States.
Well, there it is. It's signed, "I am your friend, John Adams."
Yes.
It's dated 1818. That's after he was president.
This piece of Americana sheds some light on the leaders of the Revolutionary War.
What he's doing here, he's writing a gentleman who has just authored a book on the life of Patrick Henry, sketches on Patrick Henry, and he is comparing not only Patrick Henry, but he's mentioning about 20 other revolutionary heroes that fought for our freedom.
It mentions it here. The names of Henry, Lee, Pendleton. It mentions Washington, Chief Justice Jonathan Mayhew. We have another Quincy, a Joshua Quincy. There's at least 20 names, if not 30 here. Out of everything in the house that you've shown me, this is the most significant. Maybe not value-wise, but certainly historically.
Imagine owning a piece of American history. The John Adams Letter is available now on treasurehunter.com. Coming up next, a fisherman's dream come true. That's next on Treasure Hunter. Mr. B took Jimmy to his father's game room, where he found a fabulous collection of bamboo fly rods. The amazing thing about these rods is that they've never been fished.
You have probably 16 or so, but we have them all in the original cases, original labels. We have, well, for example, this is an Orbis. It's telling us the model number right here, Bat and Kill. They're 9-foot rods. This is a Montague Red Wing. It's a medium trout fly rod. And the Red Wing, of course, being the distinctive bright red color here. What I noticed as I was looking at these rods earlier, you have, there's price tags on them. Your father actually paid $250 for one of these back in the 40s. There's another one for $150. You equate that to today's dollars, that's a lot of money. These rods would easily fetch $7,000. Maybe as much as, if the collectors are excited as I am about them, maybe as much as $10,000. This you're not going to find anywhere else in any one home ever again.
Mr. V's collection, including rods by Thomas & Thomas, Hardy, Orvis, Edwards, Montague, Horick, and Iverson, will excite any fly fisherman. And Jimmy found other collectibles, including embossed fish prints from the 1930s and a Haviland Limoges oyster plate in pristine condition. Log on to treasurehunter.com to bid on these exceptional treasures. And next week, join Jimmy to journey across America with the Treasure Hunter.